Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to Bukase. This is the second part of code walkthrough for logistic regression. So in the previous video, we have seen that how we can use logistic regression for a non-linear data set. So here in this video, we will see how we can use a breast cancer data set that we have already used for KNN classifier. We will be using the same data set for logistic regression also. Now, before going into the code, let me just show you the scikit-learn's logistic regression module. Okay. So under sklearn and under linear model, we'll be having the logistic regression class. Okay. So let me just go you briefly what are the parameters that we are expecting here in this class. Okay. So the very first parameter is a penalty. Now I guess from this L1 and L2 you are guessing that what is this penalty? Yes, that's right. It is actually asking us which one you want to use as part of the regularization. You want to use L1 regularization or you want to use L2 regularization or you want to use both, that is elastic net, or if or you don't want to use anything, none. Now none might be a risky option for you, I think you know, because you have gone through all my tutorials and you know why we should use regularization. So anyway, by default L2 regularizer is used. Okay, so this is a penalty term. Okay, duality is something like from the optimization perspective, like uh, how how the optimization algorithm is working. Like there are minimum, I mean there are various types of optimization algorithms out there. When I will do the in-depth tutorial for numerical optimization for machine learning, I will show you what are the different types of optimization that can be used. So anyway, okay, so yes, C is important. Like for, I mean, this is our hyperparameter. This is our lambda. Okay, so here we are using as C. This is not lambda, this is C. Okay, so I mean, this is same, both are same. Okay, so this will be our hyperparameter. Whatever we have learned by using lambda, we have to just replace it with C. Okay, okay, so that is our uh, hyperparameter. Okay, next parameter that I want to show you is that, okay, class weight. Class weight is basically like uh, while doing classification, I told you that there might be situation in real world that there are class imbalances. Say you are doing binary classification problem and might be uh, having say 1,000 data points, out of which 800 data points consist to positive class and 200 data points consist to negative class. So there is a huge class imbalance. So what you will try to do if you don't get another big chunk of data for negative class to balance with the positive class, what you can do, you can give class weight. You can give your negative class or the minority class some good weightage. Okay, and then you are trying to fit your or train your I mean model, classifier model or whatever it is. Okay, so that's why class weight is used. Okay, so random state is something like to get the reproducibility of the model outcome. Again, solver, you can see it is closely related to optimization like Newton CG, LBFGS, libnier, SAG, SAGA. The type of solver it is, I mean the that you want, it will be that type of optimization problem solving things will be used. Okay, so anyway, that I will cover in depth when we will start a tutorial on numerical optimization for machine learning. Okay, and yes, multi-class, yes, that's one important thing. So for multi-class, like like logistic regression is basically for binary classification, but I have shown you that using a particular hack you can use logistic regression for multi-class classification also. And that time I also told you that there is a particular attribute or parameter, that not attribute, actually a parameter in scikit-learn logistic regression class. You can use that parameter and you can use easily multi-class classification. So this is the parameter which is underscore class. You can use OVR, one versus rest policy, and you can easily do 2 class, 3 class, 4 class in n class classification problem. So this is our logistic regression class. Mainly, these are the important parameters that I wanted to cover. And once the logistic regression classifier has been trained properly, then what you will get. So there are the attributes, classes. This is the number of classes it will give you in a uh, ND array or a list of classes. Okay. Now the important is coef underscore. This is our actually W star. In logistic regression, in each and every video I have told you that logistic regression model training or solving the logistic regression or optimizer function is nothing but getting the hyperplane. And what is the hyperplane? Nothing but the optimal weight vector. This coefficient is the W star. Once you trained your logistic regression model using dot coef underscore, you can get the optimal W, the W star. I will show you in practice right now. Okay. Intercept is the bias term. Although we ignored the bias term, but this is the bias term because W transpose X plus B. That B is the intercept. Okay. So this coef and intercept, I mean specifically coef is the main concentration of today's tutorial. Okay. So let's start. Okay. Yes. So this is our breast cancer data set. If you have gone through my KNN code walkthrough, I have used the same data set. Okay, so I'm using scikit-learn's load load breast cancer method or class. Okay, and I'm just using this true and sframe as true because it will give us as a data frame. Okay, so let's just see, like using the data df.head, you can just get first 5 rows or first 5 points of your whole data set. And the columns are nothing but the features. So there are, I guess, 30 columns are there. That means 30 features. So the feature vectors is 30 dimensional. And remember, the optimal weight or the weight vector will get also 30. I said repeatedly that the same number of column you can say, or the same number of features, or the feature vector dimension will be equal to the weight vector dimension. And we will see that the number of features will be equal to the number of elements in the weight vector also. Okay. So this is our data. Now, as part of data pre-processing, again, we will do the same thing. That is, we will import standard scalar for standardization, and we will feed our data frame and we will transform it to get the actual standard data. Okay. So all the data, all the data will be in a specified range. Okay. So all the column you can see, all the feature column will be in a specified range the where the mean will be 0 and the standard deviation will be 1. Okay. So this is, I mean, I said in the separate video of data standardization or column standardization or feature standardization, whatever you can say, that it's a good practice. You should use column standardization or feature standardization when you are using any machine learning model which is predicting based on some distances. Like KNN, we have used standardization. In logistic regression, we are using standardization because there is a relation between distances, because W transpose X by mod of W, that is a distance, right? And standardization directly affects the distance. Okay, so that's why we have done standardization. Okay. Now the general process, splitting the dataset into train and test, splitting both the features and both the labels into train and test. That these are the things that we know already. Okay. Anyway, let's go forward. Okay. So this is the hyperparameter tuning. So in the hyperparameter tuning, we have discussed mainly two types of hyperparameter search. One is grid search and another is random search. Okay, so let's see in scikit-learn what is grid search and what is random search. So in sklearn package under model selection, you will get grid search CV as a class. So why everyone loves scikit-learn is that it's not only finding you the hyperparameter, it also does the cross validation with respect to you. You will provide how many times you want to resplit your trained data as a cross validation data, and based on that you will also give the accurate, I mean the performance metric by which you want to get the optimal parameter. Everything it will do. You don't have to do anything manually. In KNN I have shown you that how to do it manually, but here I will show you how to do the same thing using grid search CV, because in KNN it was a longer code, right? But here it will be a one-liner. That's the beauty of scikit-learn. Okay. So I will show you what is actually happening here. So okay, so the first parameter in grid search CV is estimator. Estimator is nothing but the model you want to use. For our case, for the for the sake of this particular video, our estimator will be logistic regression. Okay, and param grid is the hyperparameter value, the extended value, the values of lambda will be providing here. Okay, that is our param grid. And scoring is by which we want to score the metric. Either we can use accuracy or we can use other classification metric, that is F1 score or precision recall, anything. Okay. Anyway, if you don't know what is F1 score, precision recall, I'll be having a separate video on that of classification metric. But anyway, for the time being, we'll be focusing on accuracy. Okay. Similarly, you have random search CV. Okay. Same, exactly same. Under the same module, same package model selection, you will get random search CV. Okay. And that's the beauty of scikit-learn, because you can just replace grid search CV with random search CV. Everything is same. You see, estimator, you have parameter distribution. Also, you'll be having the scoring. Yes, you have the scoring. Everything is similar. You have grid search CV and your manager said, no, I want in random search CV. Just replace the name. You have to import random search. You have to just replace grid search CV with random search, and that's the beauty of scikit-learn. Okay. Okay, so we have seen the documentation of this. Let's dive into the code itself so it will be better for you to understand. So first, what we are trying to do here, that we are setting our hyperparameter values. So what is our hyperparameter? That is lambda. But what we have seen our documentation in logistic regression, it is not lambda, it is capital C. So you have to use capital C here. Okay, fine. Now I told you in the video tutorial, the theoretical class, that we'll be using a range of lambda values or C values here in this case. So I've taken from 10 to the power minus 5 to 10 to the power plus 5. Okay, this is the range of C value or lambda value, whatever you can say. And I will use grid search CV to get which one of this C value or lambda value is perfect to best fit our logistic regression model for a given particular training data set. Okay, very cool. So this is how you will instantiate your grid search CV class. Give an object name, instantiate it using grid search CV, then give your estimator. I have said estimator is nothing but your machine learning model name. What is your machine learning model name? Logistic regression. I am here giving an additional parameter, that is maximum iter 1000. If you don't know what max iters does, everything is, I mean, this max iter is related to optimization. This is a numerical optimization. It goes on iteration to converge and to get the minimum value. Okay, anyway, I know it seems Hebrew to you, but anyway, I will cover all these things in numerical optimization itself. Anyway, so my estimator is this whole thing, logistic regression, with a parameter I have decided max iter equals to 1000. Now, what is our hyperparameter? That is lambda, right? And our scoring is accuracy. And also you're mentioning that my cross validation is 5. That means I want to resplit my whole training data set into 5 equal chunks. Everything is taken care by grid search CV. Okay. Once it has been done, you have to use dot fit. Then you have to provide X train and Y train. Once it is done, it will take a few minutes maybe, or maybe no. I mean, this is a small data set anyway. It will be done within some seconds only. Anyway, so what it will try to do, it will do all the cross validation. It will try all the C values, and that means the lambda values, and run again and again the logistic regression for all these lambda values with all this cross validation, and will check accuracy, and ultimately it will give you the best parameter, that is the best hyperparameter. Okay, so how will you get that? Okay, so okay, let me show you the grid search CV. Once it is fit and the training is done, you will get two things. One is the CV result. Okay, it will give all the result. Okay, and another thing is that, which is more important, that is the best estimator. That means you can say like the logistic regression model for our case, the logistic regression model or the best logistic regression model for the specified value of lambda or c. Okay, so you'll be using this best estimator to check. Okay, okay, let me delete this. Okay, okay, this is CV result. Anyway, it will give all these things. If you go through this CV result, it will show you the average fit timing for all the models, because for all the hyperparameters C or the lambda, for all the lambda, it is training the model, right? So what is the average time for fitting? Okay, this is the average score. Okay, this is the average score. This is the test score. Sorry, this is the average scoring time. And this, that is the inference time. This is the training time. This is the inference time. This is the average score, test score. That means cross validation score. Okay. So this is 61% for some lambda, 63% for some lambda, 89% for some lambda, 95% for some lambda, 97% for some lambda. Anyway, so this CV result attribute gives you a dictionary of all the attributes. You can go through it and you will understand. That's very easy to understand. The other attribute that I am very curious about to show you is the best estimator. If you just call the grid CV model dot best estimator, it will give you, return you the logistic regression model with the best C value or the best lambda value. So the lambda value is 0.1, 0.1, or C is 0.1, for which we got the highest test accuracy or cross validation accuracy. Okay, so once we got that, we will use our final model and we will use logistic regression with C value of 0.1, because we know that this is our optimal C value or optimal lambda value. Okay, then we will fit properly with X train and Y train. That's all. So once you get this final model grid will be our logistic regression model. Then so once the training has been done, that means that optimization, that critical optimization, that complex optimization equation I have shown you, that has been resolved, and our final model grid, this particular logistic regression object instance, is ready to give us the optimal W, that is a W star. How we can get that? Using the dot coef. I told you that this is our W star. Okay, this array is our W star. This is a vector, right? This is just an array. Okay, now if you see the dimension or the number of elements in this array, just see 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5 6, that is 30. Why 30? Because we have 30 features. The feature dimension itself is 30, so that's why the W star is 30. Okay, so I think that's clear right now. Using the dot coef underscore, this attribute, we will get the optimal W, the W star we talked about throughout each and every video. Okay, so once you get the coefficient, okay, okay, anyway, let me show you L1 regularization. So by default, when you are applying logistic regression, the penalty term was L2, if you remember. Okay, so the penalty term for by default for logistic regression is L2. Default is L2. Now what I am trying to do is that I will show you using L1 regularization, penalty equals to L1, how you can get the weight vector. I told you. Here you can see, here you can see the weight vector is dense. It's not sparse. It's dense. That means each and every feature is having some or what value, right? But in case of L1 regularization, if you use L1 regularization, it will create a sparse vectors. So once you train with L1 regularization, okay, then again call the dot coef method, you will get again the 30 dimensional W star. This is also W star, but this is sparse W star. This is a sparse, because all this zero you can see, all this zero you can see are actually saying that the corresponding features are less important. Okay, I mean, whatever I am predicting, all those features whose weight value is zero are less important. It's not actually giving us any sense. Okay, that's what it is showing. So now using this, we can get the feature importance, right? What we will do, we will take the absolute value of the W's and we will sort them. Once we can sort, we can use our columns, because anyway our data frame column is actually nothing but our feature names. Okay, we can use the sorted weight vectors, and we can pass it through our data frame columns, and we will get the least important features and the most important features. Now the sorting has been done in ascending order. So mean radius, worst compactness, worst area, these are the least important features. But worst radius, this feature is important. This is the most important feature. Worst concave points, worst texture, these are the important features. Now if you have a domain expert, like if you have a friend who is a doctor who cures cancer patients, if you ask him or her that are these features are most important when you treat a patient, he might say yes. Okay, so that is the thing, by this way you can get the feature importance and also the proper feature values. Okay, so I hope the logistic regression code walkthrough is clear and crisp to you. And yeah, obviously I will share this notebook link with you. And for all this documentation, it's as easy to find it in Google. In Google, just write sklearn logistic regression. Directly, it will give you the page. So I am not sharing this link because you will also learn how to search in Google for this kind of models and all those things. Write scikit-learn random CV, random search CV, right? Scikit-learn grid search CV. Everything is available in Google, just a click away. Okay. And obviously, I will share this collab link to you so that you can download and check. Now, what I would suggest you that you try with some other C values. Okay. You try with some other C values with penalty as L1 and check. Like based on the C value, here I have taken C value as 0.1. You try many different C value and check that if the number of zeros are increasing or not, or if it is decreasing or not. It might be other way down. Either it will be increasing or it will be decreasing. Okay. And I hope the answer you know that why it is increasing or decreasing, because either it is overfitting or it is underfitting, right? So anyway, this is the end of the video, and I will obviously share this notebook with you. I hope you have enjoyed. If you like the video, do subscribe my channel for future videos. And till then, have a nice day and happy machine learning. Thanks much for watching.